love that.
Right? Hello everyone and welcome to A Safe Space. Today I am joined with my friend Nova. She's such an interesting person. I love being in the presence of her, and we always have conscious conversations. So I thought we should have a conscious conversation on video because she has a lot of value to share. She's a wellness and lifestyle coach, which she'll tell us more about, but yeah, I just wanted to relax, have some conscious conversations, drink some coffee, maybe go get some coffee and chill with us, and yeah. If I look at my phone, it's because I have some questions to ask her.
I love that we can combine coffee and chilling. That really says a lot about where we're at in our lives.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, to just speak a bit on the coaching, that's kind of like what made me realize that I was the person for that sort of thing, is bringing the peace to the chaos.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone needs more peace in their life. So how are you feeling today? How are you doing, Nova?
I feel, to reuse my word from earlier, ecstatic.
Yes.
I've been on like a full day of traveling and I still have a ton to go, but blessed to have a layover long enough to come chill at the park.
Yeah.
Spend some time outside. See you. It's been a while.
So she is a wellness and lifestyle coach, and she likes to, what's your term? Sensual Radiance. That is her master class that she likes to help people with. So let's kind of get into that a little bit, because I think some people kind of misinterpret the meaning of sensuality, and also some people kind of struggle with cultivating their own sensuality. So what does it mean to be sensual, or what does sensual radiance mean to you?
I get to kind of repeat myself from earlier.
Yeah.
We got to catch up over the coffee that is still sipping, cherishing each sip.
For sure.
Yeah, all my life growing up, like, sensuality was deemed as this kind of like really sexualized term, and something that was used kind of in taboo. And one of my favorite things about my coaching practice is being able to take those pieces of ourselves that are hard to talk about, hard to face, hard to be with, and turn them into our purpose. And I love repurposing and transforming things, so bringing sensuality back to the definition of being full of the senses, being in the present, being so immersed in what you're experiencing that you feel inevitably alive.
Yeah.
And really that's what so many people are chasing, and what so many people are struggling to find.
Yeah, and so of course when we're talking about using our senses, that has to do with our sexuality as well, but there's so much more to that. It's really mostly about like living your life to the fullest, being present, like enjoying the simple things around you, the things that people take for granted, like the way things feel on your skin, the way your essential oils smell, the way that like your food smells, the way your food tastes, just like every little simple thing like that. But people often take those things for granted. So she's kind of helping people like get back into their body, get back into their senses, feel grounded, find their inner peace, and like really embody their true self, right?
Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, with that, like, I had so many experiences that were detaching myself from my body, detaching myself from what I actually desired for my life, or what romantic relationships are supposed to feel like. It's like healthy relationships with your friends, like all relationships with food even. Like, this is a concept that can be applied to any aspect of your life, because just like really how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Bringing all your senses in helps you realize, like, do I actually like what I'm experiencing? And being able to make shifts for yourself, and
it also kind of allows you to appreciate if you're not completely satisfied with what you're experiencing, but like finding the beauty in what you have, using the tools that you have and things like that. So that kind of brings me into the next question, which was, has being sensual always come easily to you, or have you ever struggled with this? Because for me, like, when I first met her, I was like, she's so radiant, she's so confident, but like, I'm sure you've had your struggles and your journey of getting to that place.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of that comes just from growing up, going through that stage of like, who am I even?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still don't know. That's the best part. However, there's a point where you have to decide like how much value am I placing on what other people are thinking of me, and how much value am I placing on how something looks as opposed to how it feels.
Yeah.
And
has to do with how things feel, you know, not just like what you logically think that you should do, or what you like what society tells you is logically right or wrong, but more so like, how does this feel?
Right. And that takes a lot to go through, and especially because my path was along the lines of having a lot of my, like, the sexual side of the sensual taken away from me or banished or whatever, and it was kind
a
of
lot
like
of people experience a lot of shame in that area.
Yeah, it's like, how can I move into that in a healthy way? And a lot of that had to do with just like being in the rapture of a moment, not needing anybody else to experience that, to be fully in your experience. And it's better, it's like, that's the connection that we're looking for. Those are just my friends.
Yeah, we have our friends over here.
They're cheering us on.
Literally, we're connected with all of the birds right now.
Yeah, but what about you? What has your journey been like?
So I have struggled with kind of letting myself be in my body. So I think that has made it to where I often don't feel like comfortable in my skin. I don't feel like light and free and confident. And sometimes I do. I definitely have like those waves of feeling more free and light in my body. But it's definitely been a process. I've really had to do a lot of healing to get there. But I still struggle with that so much. It's just like allowing myself to just be fully present in this moment, getting out of my analytical mind. Like, obviously I study stuff like this all the time, but it's one thing to know, but it's another to actually allow yourself to be and allow yourself to actually integrate that information. And so, do you have any advice for me? Because you seem like you are very much like always in your body, like very grounded.
Yeah, it's like the brain is inevitably going to come into the picture because that's just how we operate. We're always categorizing things or projecting on things all the time. Like, that's just how we've evolved to navigate. And one of the main things that I try to remember and try to like tell other people is like, the brain is not our friend, it's not our enemy.
Yeah.
It's just entertaining possibilities. That's really all it is. But yeah, I guess in terms of like advice, really it's practicing that sensuality, being able to even just, I don't know, maybe go to a concert or something. I know that you love going to live music and stuff. Is like, when you're there, really sinking into that like energy that you're feeling, really like allowing yourself to fully feel the joy instead of like the whirlwind of it, which can often happen when we're
like
not
people can be
present.
like, oh, are people watching me right now? Are people watching me dance? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, everyone's just thinking about their own selves.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think about, like, when I see somebody dancing down the street or whatever,
like, go
I'm
off.
never like, weirdo. You know, it's like, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is when you realize that, like, your authentic self, your authentic expression is inspiring, not only to other people, but it's also like a vote to your most evolved self. And it's going to be hard to take that step at times. And
well, it's all about like reprogramming the brain, and that can take so long to do because you have to realize that you've been programming your brain for your whole life to be scared about certain things, to be stuck on the past, or like a lot of people are like very imprinted by like their past trauma or their past experiences. So it's definitely just like, it takes time to reprogram the brain, and I think it really comes down to like daily practices.
It's like the progress over perfection every time. Like I said, that practicing even just looks like being in a moment, let's say right now, and asking yourself, how can I make this more pleasurable? Change my position. That's even, you know, a little better. It's like, it's taking those little steps every time for like even giving yourself the opportunity to ask yourself, because we don't often get asked, what do you want? You know,
that's true.
A lot of the times when people hear that question, or like, why do you want it, it's almost like, actually, I don't know. People don't have a clear idea about their beliefs about themselves, about their world. And when we take every moment to try that practice, because there's times where I'm like, you know, you can't do it all the time. That would be hard. But once you continue that practice, it hits a point point where like you're different without needing to remember to be different.
Yeah.
But it's committing to wanting that. Because there's so many things that are pulling our energy away from us, so many things that are telling us how to be and how we should look or whatever. And we have such a unique print that cannot be replicated and cannot be like, you know, it can be molded and all that, but it's still going to be the same material. And so just learning to embrace that. And I'm curious if there's, I mean, this is kind of like classic turn of the year question, but I'm curious if there's anything within yourself that you want to nurture, like coming into even this week.
I think just really kind of going back to what I said before, just actually showing up for myself every day. This year is really just about like healing, showing up for myself, doing those meditations every day, doing yoga every day, showing up for myself, like working on my passions, things like that. And it feels so good when you do those things. Like, you may have resistance in the beginning, but like once you're actually in the midst of doing those things, in that flow, nothing feels better. And you're like, this was so worth it.
Starting's the hardest part for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved what you said about the learning to actually embodying peace, because that's the thing, is like the brain can forget the details eventually, you know, but we're always like, the body's always going to remember how that made us feel, you know, to some degree. And the body in that way has like this memory that even if we do resolve our trauma, sometimes we can't help the way that our physiological body will just respond. It's like, I don't want to be anxious. I'm not even anxious, but my body's anxious. You know, that can happen too. And so such a simple practice, but incredibly effective, is using visualization with dance.
Oh, okay.
So
she's a dancer, by the way. I didn't mention that. And I think that's,
since I left the womb.
Yeah, and I think that that's such a big part of her being in her body. Like, dancing is so freeing and liberating, and it just allows energy to channel through you. I feel like it helps you release stored energy in the body and things like that. So I feel like that has so much to do with everything that she's talking about. It's just like being free in your body, dancing, like moving with the music, moving with life. You know?
Yeah, even if it feels awkward, like once you push through those moments of like, I really don't know what I'm doing or what I don't know, like when you push through it and you trust yourself, just like abandon that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing type of mentality, and just like throw your arm out there or something. Like, it doesn't need to look like a dance move, but really like the two main ones that I feel are important to speak on are like dancing for the pleasure and then dancing for the pain. And so one of the easiest visualizations I feel is like when you are feeling really good already and being able to dance to like any given song, or even just the sound of the wind for all we care, dancing and like feeling the pleasure in your body as like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now, you know, just the simple mantras that remind you like, this is who I am, and like I don't need to know what that means even. And then the other piece is like the dancing the pain, and really like being an actor, as in like embodying that pain that you're feeling and taking that energy and just letting it move in you.
So I have another question for you. So we were talking about like daily practices and things like that. So how do you practice sensual radiance? Like, how do you practice that way of life? Are there any like rituals, daily habits, or like belief systems that you have?
I like that. So some of the main ones, the things that connect us to our body the most are like sound, breath, and movement. And
that's very true.
I'll start with the sound one because that's the one that I dislike the most. Because when I was a kid, my mom was the social butterfly, and I was in the back like.
But that's so not you now, though. So that's very interesting to me.
Yeah. So I had like a lot of throat chakra, like. So especially warming up to sound, it's really nice to like take an oil, like a coconut oil or something, and even just massaging your throat before you make any sounds. Like even putting your hands on either side of like what would be your Adam's apple if you're real-bodied, or like, you know, you kind of like wiggling the sounds out. Yeah. And then even starting with like sounding your own name, like singing your own name if you don't know what to sing.
I never thought of doing that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, your body loves the sound of your own voice. Like,
That's so
it
true. Yeah.
heals through the sound of your own voice. It resonates through your whole body and vibrates your cells every single day. And
Yeah.
when
I never thought about it that way. This is very eye-opening for me.
yeah. And so when we get more and more comfortable with how we sound, we get to, like, kind of feel into what sounds feel good in our body and what
That
ones
is so
don't.
true. Wow. That's so
Especially
true.
when we're singing, super
Yeah.
vulnerable, especially if you're not a singer like I am. And even that changes how I carry myself in the world. Like, now I listen to a video of myself and I'm not like, oh, I sound like that. You know, it's because I wasn't aware.
So if you plug your ears and hum, it's the same effect as using like a crystal singing bowl almost.
I love that.
Have you done that before? Isn't it so relaxing?
Thank you. I love that.
Right? I
That's
just changed
amazing.
your life. She just changed
Yeah,
my
I
life.
love that. Next piece being the breath, which, I mean, especially if you've been on Sierra's channel, I don't doubt that you've heard some about breathing. But legitimately, that is like what calms or starts up our nervous system. So whenever we're feeling out of body, kind of not feeling ourselves, you know, any of that business, especially being able to, like, consciously, like, notice, like, okay, taking the air in and, like, breathing in all that life has to offer you every time that you take a breath, because it's like, how freaking lucky are we that we're
Right?
here even.
And living a human experience.
Yeah. Like, we have so much potential within ourselves, and when we take that breath, that's what gives us the pause before we
Yes.
act on something. That's what gives us the stamina to be able to,
And that's what
you know,
brings you back into your body too.
yeah, and breath has so many benefits. We could go on forever about
Yeah.
it, but really, I mean, breath is like the difference in our quality of life. So I could talk about breath work forever, so feel free to look up different breath techniques like circular breathing, four square breathing, anything that's like, you can add movement into it too, even just to like a simple breath,
Yeah.
like an in and out. It's all it takes.
You can even do it while you're walking too. Like,
Yeah.
if, like, sometimes I'm walking into work and I'm like, I just need a few moments of peace before I get to my job.
Yeah.
And I'll just do like some breathwork exercises while I'm walking in, and even that helps so much.
Totally. Yeah, it's like we don't realize that a lot of times we're holding our breath, and like if we go even further, like our butt cheeks are probably clenched too. Like
No,
we
literally,
hold so much
literally,
tension.
yes. Until you actually put awareness on it, you don't realize how much of your body is tense.
Yeah. So good points there. And then of course the movement piece, like that's what circulates everything in our body. That's
Yeah.
what gives us a challenge, that makes us feel like life is worthwhile when we can do something with our bodies, no matter what our ability level is. I mean, that's what we've been doing since the beginning of time. It's like the deepest satisfaction to be able to move in some way, and that's gonna look different for everybody. But you know, like mine's dance, and something so cool about movement is people are always finding new ways to move their body and do different sports or
Yeah.
do different activities and stuff. And so I like encourage people to find something that they enjoy doing, and like on the internet or something, finding like a club or, man, see, this dude's been going by a couple times now.
I know.
He's found his move, or
Yeah.
they found their movement, whomever they are. And if you can't find something in your area where you feel like you can do that, like some safe place or a group or whatever, do
Creating
not
your own safe space.
Exactly. Do not hesitate to create that for yourself.
And eventually, the right people will probably come into your life as well, and you'll create a safe community for others as well.
And it's also like taking that step into the unknown is going to give you that aliveness
Yeah.
as well. Even taking the step to walk into the studio or what have you, and
Just showing up for yourself.
yeah, showing up is all it takes.
Also, a really valuable thing to mention about this whole topic too is just bringing more joy into your life, like just simply doing things that bring you joy. That's such a good way to tap into your senses and to really fully live this human experience. It's just simply doing things that bring you joy, not for an outcome. When you just take a moment and be like, what do I want to do right now? There doesn't have to be any outcome, any reason. What do I feel called to do right now? That could be like going to a bookstore, that could be thrifting, maybe getting a new plant, just like something that simply makes you happy. For me, it's listening to music, for her it's dancing, just anything, something that just brings you joy. That's a really good way, and especially, you know, when you're in the moment of doing that, is to really notice every detail and really embrace every detail about that experience.
Yeah. Another cool tip is if you are unsure of where to go or what to do, thinking back to what you were doing as a child, like without being told what to do, without any idea of like what could come of it, like what were you up to, what were you spontaneously doing? I know one of mine was like jumping on a trampoline. That was like one of my favorite things. There was a time I was like stretching in the backyard and it just wasn't cutting it for some reason, and I was like, what was I doing as a child? And I thought about the trampoline, and so I started jumping up and down. I'm like under the stars, I'm just hopping on the ground, and I was like, I cannot believe how happy this is making me. No, and how foolish I must look, but who cares?
People need to be more playful and like allow themselves to like connect to their inner child and things like that. Life is meant to be a playground.
Those are the types of steps that bring you into your body, bring you to a place of center, and then you're more able to act from who you actually are as opposed to
being honest and open.
You know, the emotional side of it. That can often be tricky.
So, hey Nova, do you have any one piece of advice for the viewers or anything else you want to talk about? It can be unrelated to this topic, just anything that you want the viewers to take home with them. Not to put you on the spotlight.
No, that's perfect. Like something I would say for you and myself, everybody, is like, don't let the fear of being seen in your process stop you from enjoying the process, being in the process.
It's beautiful to be scared. It's beautiful to keep persevering even though you're scared. Like, I was kind of scared to film this video with her today. Like, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, you know, but like just actually doing it is so liberating. And that's just one example of like so many things that come up that scare us. Like, are we really meant to do this, or are we good enough for this? Like, are we worthy? Like, things like that, you know. But it's so important to just like own who you are and just do things despite the fear.
Yeah, exactly.
Do things because they scare you.
Right. I mean, especially if it's healthy, that's how you know it's worth it.
Also, what services you offer and where can people find you? Because I know that after people watch this video, they're going to want to see more of you. So go ahead.
Well, my main platform of operation is Instagram, so that would be Mosaic _blues. Period is the symbol, you know?
They're like Mosaic period.
I add the T to it as well. Yeah, it's mosaic.blues on Instagram, and that's a great way of contacting me. But some of the things that I do are not only one-on-one certified coaching. I produce master classes, I hold ceremonies, I'm going to be holding retreats this year.
I'm excited for that.
I'm lit already. I also fire dance for different events and stuff. My bag is endless.
She does it all.
I like to edit videos. I like to be a part of videos. Yeah. I just appreciate connecting and hearing other stories, so please feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people will after watching this because you are amazing and talented and interesting. Thank you so much. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope that this video added value to you in any way. If it did, then feel free to give it a like or subscribe to my channel or follow her as well. And thank you so very much. I hope I see you in the next video.
Yeah, this is nice.